Margaret is still a very, very popular character. You see it all the time in PvP to this day. Be it with the people that are still coping, the goddess team is usable, or just using it as a regular cleanser, because that's basically what Margaret is today. But when Margaret first came out, my favorite thing to do was to use her with attack crit and just go ham with their damage, because with Gringalfer and Droll at the time, but we're going to be using DN today because, you know, it was pretty good. Like, Margaret would be cleaning up teams, and I want to see how this should do today. We have a lot of, like, mono-red teams, so how does it do? Because at the time, the biggest thing was, like, Bond, right? Margaret, at the time, at launch, because of how powerful she was, she cleaned up those bonds off of the meta, kind of, until Bond got a Holy Relic, right? But the idea was simple, rank up to the level 3, and then destroy. That's the plan. We're going to be doing a level 1 here. Let's start powering up. I want to get level 3 for her, but if we can't, it's fine. Margaret these days, right? What you're mostly using for is, again, the cleanse. The cleansing is never common, right? You're mostly only using Margaret for that. Or the ultimate, which is a pretty big time nuke, right? You're mostly going to get a one-shot if you have a 6-6, and you're getting a disable on the rest of the enemies, which, if you're unaware, if you weren't playing when this unit came out, this wasn't a thing. When Margaret first came out, she was really bad. For a festival unit, it was pathetic how bad she was. Keep saying she, but technically it's Lucial, but it doesn't matter. And it's hilarious because they buffed her so much she became the best unit in the game. It wasn't even close. Like, she was so strong. It was like Bond all over again. When Bond first came out, it was crazy how strong Margaret was. All right, time for the nuke. How much can we do here? Level 3 level 3 AoE card. This is the card that I used to wipe teams, right? You'd just one-shot a whole team with this. So how can we do? Let's first put up the stance here. I'm not killing Margaret. The 40% damage reduction is too much, I think, but let's see. Let's see what we can do. Level 3. 0 crits. I was thinking of putting on Death Pierce. Death Pierce would have given me like a 20% more chance than with Bond, because Bond gives you 10% crit chance, right? I still don't think it's enough. At this point in the game, every character, right, has too much crit resistance for a character like Margaret that only has 74% crit chance. Dan's dead. Oh no, I forgot Liz kind of sucks. Okay. Can we kill this? I mean, Dan has no... They're all disabled, but... So the thing is, one of the reasons why her card aged so terribly is because of the card effect. If you play the game, you know. One of the worst card effects in the entire game is ignore defense. In other games, ignoring defense would be nuts. Defense usually means how well a character can tank. Of course he cleanses. Defense usually, that's what Margaret is made for. She's made to cleanse. Or at least these days. Usually ignoring defense is nuts. But in Grand Cross, unfortunately, that is just simply not the case. Defense is not as important of a stat as you would otherwise think. Defense-related stats is very important. If a character was to ignore all defense-related stats, they would be very strong. This is like max Galfer passive, by the way. Like, we're not doing much damage. They would be very strong. This is why, the one Escanor, he got a holy relic that makes him ignore 30% of defense. And that relic sucks. It's awful. It's so bad. Because defense just isn't all that. Defense resistance is very good as a stat. And crit defense and crit resistance are also very strong. It's just how the math works with defense isn't very great. So a character like Margaret, right? Having her DPS card like that, it's like she was bound to be power crept. It was in terms of being a DPS. Like right now, again, Margaret's still very strong in the meta. We see lots of people just using her for, you know, cleansing, right? The cleanse plus damage increase plus damage reduction card is pretty strong, right? But as a damage dealer, that ignore defense card just ain't it. I haven't got a single blue card in like a few turns, so love that. We're gonna finish off this match of a level 3 here. But you see, it's been all that. Hopefully we can face a mono red team. Because the big thing was when Margaret came out, they were like, oh, we're gonna show Margaret against Ban on the live stream showcase they do, right, for new festivals. And then they lost. And we were laughing at the fact that they lost on their own controlled environment. They lost with the new festival against the most recent festival beforehand. Even with most crits, it still couldn't kill Liz. Yeah, ignore defense is really bad. Whenever a character gets a DPS card and it's ignore defense, I already know. That DPS card ain't gonna do no damage. One more for the ride. Let's ignore that defense on level 3 again. Because hey, you'd level 3 with Margaret, you'd wipe with the level 3 card. Now almost struggling to kill that Liz. I'll put on Death Pierce. But even if, I'll be honest, even with Death Pierce, I don't think I'm critting. I don't. It's just, units these days have too much core resistance. Even at the time that Margaret came out, a lot of characters already have a lot of core resistance. Like, Margaret herself has over 100%. But it wasn't as bad as today, where every single character has way more crit resistance than she has crit chance, right? Times changed when it came to defensive characters. Okay. And teams like these now exist as well, so... There weren't as many defensive teams back then. I'll do a level 3 right now. And then hope for a rank up and level 3 again next turn. Let's see how this goes. Oof. Oof. Rank up? Rank up? No rank up. Wow, of course. We'll level 2. I want to see the damage still. Can we kill the end here? I mean, I'm gonna blue card, right? I'll attack the end here. And we're gonna level 3 again. Oh, that's gonna double lower me with Chandler. That's not good. I mean, that wasn't the worst. It could have been worse damage. It legit could have been, but like, it's not like what it used to be, right? Because again, back in the day, I think that is the problem. When it comes to a card that doesn't have its own real, like, damage multiplier. Because, you know, ignoring defense is not damage multiplier, right? For example, Diane, her card is a damage multiplier. For each ultimate gauge she has, she increases damage. Characters without damage multipliers just can't do as much damage. Which may seem obvious, but it's like a big discrepancy in the game between cards that do and don't. And you can really tell the difference when it comes to like King's Shield. And It's not exactly like, you know, the same thing, one for one, but for instance, when you're attacking King and he has his shield up, if using a card like Margaret's card that ignores defense, you will not penetrate the shield. But if you're using a card that has, for example, Penetrate, which is on the global version called Pierce, then you penetrate that shield very well. It's just the damage multiplier on it allows you to do such thing. Like resistance doesn't get ignored, and resistance is the most defensive of the defense related stats. So let's do this. This is the best course of action. It's much better than doing level 2 for Margaret. Margaret is here to cleanse, really. So that's what we're gonna do. And increase damage for DN. And she got a crit there. Nice. It is crazy though, because this happens to a lot of characters where when they come out, they, you know, I instantly give them attack crit and they are at their peak. Where attack crit is like by far their best gear because they're so damaging that it doesn't make any sense to want to gear them in the other way. And then they eventually, their damage becomes so power craft that the only real way of running them anymore is HP defense. You can almost see the same on the one Ascanor. The one Ascanor isn't a relevant character anymore for PvP, unfortunately. But if you are using the one Ascanor, it's probably because you're using him as CC fodder as your back unit, right? Some of you probably do that still. Because he still has such good CC if you just use him with HP defense. So, stuff like that, right? A character like Margaret that I loved because that's the kind of character I like. I like characters that allow me to wipe teams and fast. And there's no RNG involved with that. I put on the blue... I mean, there's some RNG. Okay, that's just not true, right? There is RNG in using Margaret's level 3s because you need to get lucky to get the cards, right? But yeah, at the point that you use the card, there's no RNG in that, right? You get the cards, you use them, you wipe, right? That was okay. I think if I had 2 level 3 attacks, that would have been pretty good. I wouldn't have wiped still, but it would have been close enough. I can't take off his ultimate gauge. Oh, I can. Math is hard. I'll level 3 again, just to cleanse DN. Because she's gonna attack Chandler and she was encroached. So if I attacked him, she would die to the counter. I don't want that. Give me one more attack card for Margaret and we can level 3 for her again. It'd be great. Nice. It'd be great to do one more level 3 for her. Yeah, power craft damage. I mean, at least, okay, when it comes to Margaret, for example, right? At the very least, even though the damage was power craft, she still has a use in the game. Like a character like, again, the One, which unfortunately... Both the One and Margaret were shafted. They both got pretty bad Holy Relics. More the One than Margaret, to be fair. Margaret's Relic kind of sucks as well, but... The One's Relic is just straight poo-poo. It is just so bad. Yeah, that damage is not what it used to be. It's just not what it used to be, right? She's gonna get encroached and then cleanse. If you don't know, if the enemy has Chandler, I know this because I used Chandler so much. I know how to counter him. And your character has 3 darkness, attack the Chandler to make your character encroach and then cleanse the following turn. It's a very neat trick because technically encroachment ends at the end of the turn and that's the end of the turn. That's the end of your turn, right? I'm sorry, Margaret, but the end it's gonna end the match again. I'm sorry. It's just, it is what it is. Like, you're here for the damage increase at level 3. Your cards don't do damage anymore because you just ignore defense, and that kind of sucks. But hey, the end's ultimate has a damage multiplier and it's AoE, so it does damage. Although I didn't do, I didn't have a stance there, right? So I didn't actually do it. but still. Or did I? I actually don't recall. But no, I didn't because it's his turn and I don't have any more. Let me know, did you build Margaret with attack crit back in the day? I know a lot of you did. If you were playing, I know, because it was just a thing to do. She was a crazy damage dealer. Why would you not? I had her with both HP defense and attack crit, in case I wanted to just use her as a support as well. Miss her. I miss characters like... There's not a character like her anymore. That's the #1 character, and it's a turn 1 DPS or turn 2 DPS. Esteros is a single target. I guess Esteros. Or even Merlin, kind of, but not really.